Right, hello. I had a bit of trouble pausing there, but I'm good. Hello, everybody. Hello, John. How you doing? Yes, Eric, that is the thumbnail choice. It's great, ain't it? Let me make sure I have the thingy. I think this plays fine, right? Yes. Alright, cool. Oh yeah. Let me do one thing first. There we go. That should be fine. Cool. Okay. You are good. Hey, Crawl, how you doing? Bam, there it is. Oh, man. Oh, wait a second. I forgot. But yeah, we're watching this video this up-and-coming YouTuber created. It was like, you know what? I'll check it out. It has to do with Mega Man. I figure why not, right? That's a joke. It's made for my good buddy, good friend, ShadowRock. Made a very objective, very what is the opposite of doomer? Whatever that word is, that's the word. It was much more objective take to it. It was much more it had a lot of logic and reason to it that a lot of people can resonate, myself included, because we do think quite alike. But I am kind of curious because I was actually watching it, and we'll see if I truly do feel like I fully agree with the video or not. So, as always, I didn't take timestamps this time around because I didn't use my last timestamps. But I am gonna pause it like every once in a while and then just comment on it, as always. And yeah, I'll do full screen. Yeah, I'll do full screen. Alrighty, I will let it play now. Oh, wait, put it loud, and then I'll lower it whenever if I need to.
It's 2024, and we recently passed the 36th anniversary of the Mega Man franchise and the 5th anniversary of Mega Man 11 without much of the fanfare that fans were hoping for. Now, 2023 wasn't a nothing year, mind you. We got new releases in the form of Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection with online net battles to boot, and it was also the 3rd anniversary of Rockman X Dive.
It shocks me to this day that this game went 3 years, considering just how shoddy it was towards the end. Like, my god. Kind of insane to think about. And even funnier that our favorite developers of all time, Nebula Joy, is like, hey guys, hey Capcom, let's continue. Let's continue global, shall we? So that's cool. I don't know if anything came from that. I'm gonna assume they were met with a hell no, but we'll see.
Last year did see the death of the Capcom handled versions of the mobile and PC title, but from the ashes came Mega Man X.
Also, I kind of do want to point out, alright? Oh my god, like, talk about introducing a type of unit that's meant to be so broken, and then be like, hey guys, let's break it even harder. And it hasn't even been that long yet. Actually insanity.
Of the mobile and PC title, but from the ashes came Mega Man X Dive Offline, an unprecedented release in the world of live service gacha titles that will preserve a good chunk of the single player content for years to come, with even more restorations being done by the modding community that is still booming despite Capcom adding the Enigma DRM to their library of PC games. Oh yeah, can't forget.
I also want to point out as well that, yeah, they're still going strong with these mods. Like, they teased one. I forgot what it was. Oh god. But I know that there was one thing that was teased very recently, and then they also added a Digimon. Cause fuck it, why not?
Get things like the Minecraft Mega Man X crossover, among other crossovers like Compass either. That did kind of happen out of nowhere. It's safe to say that players still had Mega Man content to enjoy last year.
By the way, the only reason why I am reminded of this game is thanks to Mega Quint, which it's not a bad thing by any means. It's very cool and interesting that they are that they're just random collabs with Mega Man. So yeah, I tend to see like clips of Compass, and I think even just recently the Metabots game had another one with Mega Man. So there's like a whole slew of new armors and whatnot. So yeah. To answer your question, Neeps, how far did I go in SR's video? Well, if you see the time code right in the bottom right there, I barely began. But if you're asking overall if I've seen the video, I have seen the video in its entirety. In fact, I even watched it again today to refresh myself, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So that, if that answers your question, cool.
Between the blast from the 2000s and the world of the deep log.
I thought this was
However,
a man.
that
Oh
won't
my god.
stop die-hard fans from wondering if Capcom will ever announce another original Mega Man title in the vein of Mega Man 12, Mega Man X9, and lots more. What happened to all of the sequels, or anything brand new for that matter? Does Capcom hate Mega?
You just reminded me. It was Vent. I believe his name is Vent. It's the male counterpart to Ash, or was it Gray? I don't even. Oh god, I don't even know, man. I don't know these names, but it's. I believe it's the other person of ZXA that's not Ash.
Mega Man? In this special episode of Mega News, we take a deep dive into the state of the Mega Man franchise in early 2024, how we got here, and what could be still ahead of us. Let's rock.
Hey, somebody rang the doorbell. I'll be right back. I'm gonna check out to see who it is. Okay, I'm back. It was a food delivery, but it was not for me.
Welcome back to Mega News.
I think that's more of a statement, not really a question, but alright.
The show where I ramble off about the goings-on in the Mega Man fandom. First of all, to our viewers, thank you so much for waiting on what will be the debut episode of 2024. To reward your patience, I have a special show for you today, where, at the request of some of you I've talked to, I am finally going to compile my take on the state of the franchise as it stands today. We'll hit upon some relevant news topics on my bucket list as we go too. A quick disclaimer before we begin. I know, the number one question I'm going to be asked right off the bat is about the open letter to Capcom video. So allow me to clear the air. As of this current moment, I am not affiliated in any capacity with the video's creator. I also haven't watched anything from their channel in years.
Hey, Samaker. Welcome back, John. And, but you said the real question. That's why it's, you know, gotta clarify better, mister.
Quite frankly, so I am not in a place where I can comment on it. I do apologize about that. But yeah, this isn't a response to anyone specific. I'm just going to address some sentiments that I've seen out there on the net and do my best to provide some context using what knowledge I've accumulated throughout my years in this fandom. Not to come to the defense of anyone per se, but just to be reasonable, because while it's really easy to let your emotions get the better of you in these trying times, I think it's also important for us to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Bear in mind that this is only in my opinion based on the best educated guesses that I can muster, and it's not to be taken as gospel. Alright then, let's set the stage.
So yeah, he's gonna go over his points. I do not believe he even watched that video, so none of his points are gonna go through that video regardless, so although I did, so it might influence it, but I don't know. But yeah, so and to preface this, we kind of do think alike. We do share a lot of common opinions, but there are some things that even he and I don't agree with. So, yeah. Well, but we'll see. We will see. What is it, Neeps? What is the problem? We are 3 minutes and 42 seconds in, and we have a problem. What's the problem? At the moment, I don't really see much of anything with video as of yet. So I covered his video by what? What are you talking about? I'm also going to mention this as well. I think I know we're going to go with this. But but I'll let you finish your points. I might be associated and work with ShadowRock. But keep in mind, he and I are separate people. I am here making my own stuff. That is why I've been grinding a lot more with my stuff. So it was my choice of covering this video. And yeah, like, yes, this I and as I mentioned before, this is like a much more objective, not doomer pilled video compared to Revo's. Revo's was more, it was very negative and very worried and very doomer pilled. And I know this, but, and like I said, we think alike, he and I, but there are even some things I'm not fully agree with, but we'll get to that. Thank you, Mr. Narrator.
From about 2010 to 2018, the Mega Man franchise suffered an unprecedented hiatus that has been coined the Dark Ages. Series producer at the time, Keiji Inafune, left Capcom, games were cancelled, shots were taken, fans got their feelings and trust in Capcom destroyed, and aside from 2012's Rockman crossover that...
I have a legitimate question. A fully legitimate question about this game, because I've never played this game. Is it worth it? Like, do I even... Actually, I don't even think it's available at all, but it's like how bad was it? Like, all I hear is that this game was dog shit, but it's like, I've never played it. I mean, it looks kind of funky, but it's like, is it really that bad? It's like, I don't know, man. I mean, they didn't port over to the States, which I found very funny. So I was like, damn, what's this game really? Because I didn't really address this very much in the other video. But I was like, shit, was it that bad? I'll be real though, like the outfit design here. Oh, you can't see the mouse, but yeah, that's a choice. If I do say so myself with the fur. I feel 50-50 on it. I think somebody had I think it was Midnight. He had posted he either posted it or reposted it. It was Proto Man's design, and it was like, huh, that's interesting. A lot of emblems on them, but yeah.
Wasn't received well by the community, to say the least, to the point that Capcom of America was like, yeah, we're not even gonna bother with this one. Eventually, we did get 2015's Mega Man Legacy Collection and 2017's Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, but outside of those, there were no substantial original titles released during this time. And we thought the Blue Bomber dead,
drought.
doomed to a fate many dormant IPs suffer, becoming a merchandising mill thriving off of nostalgia. That was until that fateful December of 2017, when Capcom hosted a 30th anniversary livestream, not only announcing a Mega Man X Legacy Collection, but revealing to the world Mega Man 11, the first new entry in the classic series in 8 years that took the 2D jumping and shooting action into the modern era with a new art style, quality of life improvements, a new double gear system mechanic, and an unprecedented amount of difficulty options for newcomers and veterans alike. People are going to have their opinions about certain aspects, but for me personally, Mega Man 11 was a very solid return to form, and it's definitely among my top 3 favorite classic series games. All I could really ask for was a longer Wily Castle. It was also at this time that we were...
Yeah, I won't lie to you, I'm not a classic person by much means, but it definitely was one hell of a solid game. It's not even just the fact that it was like it took so long to come here, but it's just like all those years to get this game, and it may have not been like that spectacular 10 out of 10 game, but it was pretty fucking good. Like it was amazing. Um, so like I can't deny it. It's like 11's a damn good game. Hey Major John, how you doing? Oh no problem, Major John. As the other video, this will be uploaded separately. So that way you can view it at your own lovely pleasure. Excuse me. But thanks for stopping by from work. It means a lot. But yeah, this I will definitely say too. 11 is like a very good game to get people into Mega Man. Like I know classic. Like you can basically have them play any classic, but if you want them to play like the classic game for people to get that feel of Mega Man, it is 100% 11. Easy peasy.
We're introduced to director Koji Oda and the new series producer Kazuhiro Tsuchiya that would step into Inafune's old role. Right out of the gate, they had a vision to revitalize the Mega Man brand over the following 10 years or more, and their enthusiasm for a new era of the Blue Bomber was kind of infectious. They even said that they would not deny other Mega Man sub-series their chance to shine, so hooray! Deep down, people are not going to soon forget the Dark Age period the fandom suffered through.
Yeah, no, we're not forgetting that at all, man. Are you kidding me? Like, no one's gonna forget, bro. There was no games for like 8 years, man. And yeah, to address that Easter egg, yeah, it's like, I mean, I don't blame people for denying it. It's like you're bringing out these collections of like these games that people are calling lazy, by the way, and then all of a sudden there's just like this new piece of art that's like it looks so modern, so weird and different compared to the other things that was presented, and it's like, this is some fake shit, bro. This is like, I don't know, man. I mean that's how it was. Like that's how, like, I mean, to be perfectly fair, I'm gonna be honest with you. Let's just say, even if there wasn't that giant drought of games or anything like that, let's just say Mega Man was going consistently, like at a decent rate, I still wouldn't like think much of it. I would be like, oh, that looks interesting. I guess.
And I don't think we should ever forget, but for a while, the future was beginning to look bright again when the Mega Man X Legacy Collection sold well enough to please Capcom, and Mega Man 11 would go on to dethrone Mega Man 2's 1.51 million units sold
It did do that.
as the best-selling title of all time. About 4 years after release, thanks to Capcom's new evergreen strategy to keep pushing Mega Man 11 and put it on sale over a long period. Mega Man 2 held that bestseller title for 34
I think he mentions that at
long
some
years
point, so I will
Mega Man
address
11
that when he
finally
mentions
surpassed
it.
it. So it is quite the momentous moment. Maybe it was because of the evergreen strategy, the fact that 11 was coming after a long hiatus so people were fresh and excited, or both, but either way, it was clear that people wanted more Mega Man, and they showed up with their wallets. Soon after 11's release, it wasn't long until we heard Tsuchiya discussing the next Mega Man title in interviews. It had already been decided, and pre-production began in 2019, giving us something to look forward to, but sadly, nothing tangible has manifested yet. Instead, Mega Man Zero ZX Legacy Collection would drop in 2020 to a bit of fanfare, but it's difficult to gauge how well it actually did sales-wise since Capcom isn't always forthcoming about their titles in their financial reports unless...
Yeah, this is a very interesting thing, man. Like, they just don't want to say at all. Like, they love to mention the game from time to time, but they just don't mention the sales numbers. I mean, that in itself, it just is telling. It's like, yeah, we didn't do so well, and it kind of sucks, to be honest with you, because it's like, I may not have been like fully into Zero or even ZX, to be honest with you, but I kind of do feel like they're not bad. But they do take a bit to get into. At least the zeros do. It is a damn shame though. And and whatnot. I think what's even crazier, right? So we are like we're always told that these are like just lazy ports, right? And I mean you can see it that way, sure, I guess, but um the thing is they actually put in extra work into these instead of just being outright ports. Well, the first thing to truly address about these collections is, well, they're being brought to current consoles, which is phenomenal if you ask me. Like, let me put it this way to you. Let's just say let's just say I started streaming mostly Battle Network to like get this grind going, right? And let's just pretend though that the collection didn't even exist, right? If we were to omit the use of emulators for some reason, you would have to buy the Game Boy cartridge and either play it through the DS and get a capture card for it, which you can get, or have a Game Boy player and record it there. But the DS capture card, that's like an outside external thing that someone else does. That's not official. And then the Game Boy player, that's more official, but it's pretty old. And it's like, oh. And like the thing is too, is like we're using HDMI cables and things like that. Oh, actually, I'll even address the Wii U and Virtual Consoles. What if you got into Mega Man? Like now, you can't buy those games anymore. Those are gone. So if we were to get them through legitimate means, you really don't have very much anymore. So the fact that they brought them into these collections now is fantastic, because now you no longer have to worry about the cartridges dying, because they have been dying, unfortunately. And then you also don't have to worry about getting like updated cables and whatnot to capture the footage. And more importantly, especially for the Virtual Console, they're not behind a storefront that doesn't exist anymore. And that's great. So that is why I truly appreciate the collections, because it's just a very modern way to play them, and it's great. Yeah, like in case you don't know, Game Boy Advances, or the cartridges, they have like a battery inside them, so that way they can retain save data and other things like that. But if the battery dies, you can still play the game, but it doesn't retain the save data. It's literally just you have to play the game one setting, or you're screwed. So yeah.
Unless they did amazingly well. And maybe that says it all right there. The consensus is that it did well enough, but definitely the least well performing of the legacy.
I was talking about Battle Network specifically. I wasn't talking about the other stuff. And I was saying if the Battle Network collection did not exist. That was what my whole story and point was.
Collections, unfortunately. The same year, we got something totally different. A Mega Man X mobile gacha game in the form of Mega Man X Dive, or Rockman X Dive as it was known at the time. Pretty much right after that, the pandemic kind of happened, so it fell on Dive to hard carry the franchise in the consciousness of us fans for the years to come. Aside from the occasional mobile crossover here and there, but the vast majority of them were Japanese only. The updates to X-Dive every other week certainly did spark new discussions and provided new content to digest on a consistent schedule.
I don't want to get into Dive too much, because this is basically like reaction to the video itself, not like to the games and whatnot. But I always found it very interesting that Dive's like the Dive like their update schedule was quite frequent for a game. Like normally speaking, characters like, I mean, so you have like different banners and whatnot that kind of overlap, but generally speaking, at least I can probably speak about it in Fey terms, but like for Fire Emblem Heroes, for example, they have like new heroes, and then they have like limited time heroes, like the event ones, like the Easter, Christmas, things like that. And then you have like the superheroes, like the legendary banners and things like that. So to put that in X terms, like the Dive festivals, where you get those limited characters there. I found it interesting that those are like a lot more frequent compared to other gacha games, and I was like, huh, they just kind of cranked these out pretty quickly. I think it does kind of even itself out at some point, but I do remember it was like it took a while for new things to come in, and then it felt like it was just like every other week, like something new. So whoa, going too fast there, buddy. But yeah,
which shows the strength of having a live service game like this around. However, it was still a gacha game. The economy wasn't exactly great. The game suffered many bugs throughout its time. The story was a weird, fourth wall breaking English mess. And while we did get a lot of fan favorites, original characters, new takes on existing ones, and official art for characters that never got one before, so that was neat, we had finally come to the point that Mega Man was becoming a waifu simulator, and boy oh boy did it ignite controversy and basically split the fandom in half.
Yeah, people who don't play gacha games, they're just not used to that at all. They're just not used to this at all. I play gachas. I'm just so used to this. It's like, yeah, it was bound to happen, and it did.
I tell you, some of those arguments weren't pretty. It's definitely safe to say that the new artwork, that was awesome, and the crazy amount of playable characters was the best part about the game. The rest, you can kinda take it or leave it. If anything, it gave us something to do while waiting for the next big game to happen, so in that way, it was fun while it lasted. However, like I said, the pandemic happened, so that fast forwards us to 2023
hey, Son Angel, how you doing?
with Mega Man Bound Network Legacy Collection, which is currently the fastest selling title in the franchise, selling over 1 million units after only a couple weeks following the launch. For comparison, it took Mega Man 11 an entire year and 1 month to reach the same milestone. So this is extremely unprecedented for Mega Man. Technically, they are counting both volumes in the sales numbers, which is kind of cheating, but I can't argue with a Battle Network sweep, baby! Or should we say a Battle Network 4 sweep?
Yeah, baby! I am actually legitimately curious because I do think I do believe you can buy them separately, but how many people actually I am actually legitimately curious how many people actually bought it separately, because I always found like it was just worth getting both regardless, especially like when it came to the sales. So I was like, who actually just only bought one version? I legit don't know. I don't think I've met anyone who bought them separately. I didn't even know you could, to be honest. But then later on, I was like, oh, you can't find. Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. So, hey, that's not true. They're husbandos. Give them big boys some love too.
Mega Man 11 is currently at 1.8 million units, and BNLC was last reported to be at 1.42 million units in September of 2023. So it's not hard to see BNLC even surpassing Mega Man 11 in due time, which throws a wrench in the predictions of what could come next. Does it really count though if BNLC isn't on the Capcom Platinum titles list? Because
you're next gonna tell me that the sky is blue and we need to breathe air.
Oh, the separate volumes? Well, I'll let you decide. And of course, Dive Offline is Dive Offline. I just covered that in the intro. So great! Mega Man is doing the best for himself than ever before.
Played in a good part.
Now what? Well, that brings us to today. Back in 2018, there was legitimate hope for the future, but it seems the further away we get from Mega Man 11's release date without any other sequel announcements, the more the faith dwindles and we slowly find ourselves back in the same place we were in before. It doesn't help that we just learned that series producer Kazuhiro Tsuchiya recently departed Capcom after he seemingly had to put his Mega Man duties on the back burner to help get Street Fighter 6 through the finish line.
I legitimately do wonder if that was the reason why he left. Was it because he actually did try to did he actually like try to get Mega Man on the table and he kept getting denied, so therefore he just couldn't take it anymore? I do wonder if that's the reason. I don't know. I don't think so. But I don't know. Like I'm definitely not in Capcom, and I'm definitely not him. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I mean, maybe he found another opportunity. Maybe he was like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I kind of feel like Dive doesn't have any nude mods. There's no really need for it anyways. I don't think they allow it, to be honest. Unless some crazy person does it on his own, like, and whatnot. But yeah, otherwise, it's whatever. Like, I don't really care. I'm much more interested in, like, well, the restorations, but things like G Beast and like just new characters that they're adding to the game. Those are the mods I'm interested in. Those are really nice. Yeah, so I'm definitely definitely looking forward to those. I love mods. I'm pretty sure there's a place you can get them, but I mean, I don't care.
I don't think it's bad enough that I can officially say we are in the Dark Ages 2 Electric Boogaloo just yet. Objectively,
Okay, cool.
the franchise is still alive and well for now, but the fear is we are heading that way, and the longer this relative radio silence goes on, the more we have to be subjected to takes like, J-Eazy has done more for Mega Man than Capcom has in 10 years, bruh! Like, I 100% understand where they are coming from, but man, I sincerely hope that is bait. Okay.
No, I'm dying on that hill. That man. No. It was funny though. Can you believe that guy actually got hate? People actually were not liking J-Eazy because he was like pushing Mega Man like crazy. And I'm like, why? That guy's cool. What? That beat was fire. Not to mention that the like literally January, what was it? January 6th, what was it? What day was it? Oh wait. I want to get the date right.
Like,
January 7th, yeah. Yeah, that was sick. Like, oh my god. So man. Good stuff. I like the guy. Then he moved on to Guilty Gear.
100% understand where they are coming from, but man, I sincerely hope that is bait. Okay, that said,
I want to believe
agree
it. That's my
Capcom
headcanon.
has dropped the ball full stop when it comes to communicating about the franchise's future with the fans. On the other hand, they probably do have a very good reason for keeping the cards close to their chest until they have something tangible to show. We have the Sonic fandom as an example of what happens when you're a little too transparent with your fans. Like the Sonic Prime timeline placement debacle. And yes, it is a huge downer that the last 5 years has consisted mostly of collections and mobile stuff. In 2018, I popped off at a brand spanking new Mega Man game. In 2023, I was popping off at online battles for Battle Network, even though in practice, when I visit the lobbies, all I hear is crickets. Yeah, sorry Capcom, but...
No, you hear me in the Battle Network 1 lobby like, hey, wanna be in 1 PvP, bro? And nobody shows up, bro. It's the most depressing thing. But no, it is pretty funny that, yeah, it's like we're so excited for this new game. And then years later, we're so excited, maybe just about excited, for this like 10 games that we've all mostly played. So cool. But again, I do absolutely I do absolutely love the fact that this collection exists, to be honest with you. The other thing too with PvP is Tango kind of exists. It's like so much better. Now, me personally speaking, I don't know if it's just a me thing or maybe I don't know, but that is true. Thank you, Mr. Rapto's Claw, for the $5. Yep, as long as there are 2 people playing online, it's still a living game. Absolutely. Scaring the shit out of me with that. Thank you. No, that's true though. Like, you have to really truly think about that, where these games just weren't available modern unless you had the virtual console. If you didn't have the virtual console, oh boy. But yeah, I mean, there's still like some things that we could that could be better, but at least they're making an effort for it. So, well, we'll just have to see how they do in the future and whatnot.
It looks like Tango is still king. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that says something about where we're at. It is true that Capcom has been taking some massive L's lately. The biggest controversy perhaps is adding the Enigma DRM retroactively to their Steam library, including games that hadn't received updates in years. It's been an ongoing process over the course of months, but that process suspiciously sped up by a lot recently after someone mistakenly enabled a Chun-Li nude mod in an official Street Fighter 6 tournament. Yikes! Not gonna lie, the discourse over the DLC costumes pricing probably didn't help matters either. But the first reason
$15 turtle costumes. Don't ever change, Capcom. Yeah, that's that whole I mean, he's gonna address it too. But the goddamn DRM thing, it's just like, man, you guys, like, listen. They're stupid. Oh yeah, that's true. Mega Man's now in Street Fighter. I have to hop on now, you guys. $15 turtle cost. Oh man.
it's just funnier.
Don't even get me started with Spy Family.
Poopsie you want to make in front.
But yeah, so just to, for some reason, right? So why it's the $15 turtle costume? So it's $750 for a costume, right? For the fighter cash, and then he shows it here. These are what's available. So unfortunately, like, you can't, like, you have to spend $5 and then $12 to get just enough to purchase said costume. And my dog does not like that either. Hey, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, that's why it was called $15 turtle costume, because you literally had to spend like $15-16 just to get one. That's just one, by the way. I think Raptor, you confirm there is no bundle for this. You have to buy them each separately. By the way, kind of insane. Once again, Capcom, never change.
The first reason is just funnier. That's the last oopsie poopsie you want to make in front of the company itself. Essentially, what the Enigma DRM does is it stops mods that rely on the exe file to function. However, there are workarounds that users have found for it, and Enigma does not break simple asset replacement mods, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, so literally, I don't remember it was fully day one or maybe week one. I'll be generous and say week one, but Prof Now was like, yeah guys, these legacy collection mods, yeah, we fixed them. All right, cool, awesome, here's the workaround.
Unfortunately, its inclusion has led to reports of slowdown, graphics breaking, and certain games outright not working, especially for Steam Deck users. The one thing Enigma has not done, however, is infect your device with viruses. That was a claim made up by a RageBait account that was using an entirely unrelated hentai game as an example. In the community's testing
I remember when I first saw that post, it's like, oh my god, guys, the DRM is adding all these viruses, man. Whoa, I got all these viruses, dog. I'm like, and then somebody took a closer look. It's like, dude, you got hentai games. What are you doing? It's like, yeah, of course they're gonna have things, but yeah, but you want to try to push that on to the Capcom DRM, which is like, because see, that's the thing though, right? Most people just read, glance, and then just run with it. They don't actually fully sit down and like look at it and actually see, confirm whether or not it's true. Now, to be perfectly fair, right? I do that too. It happens, like, because I mean it works, right? But sometimes something sounds so silly, you kind of just want to make sure that it's like, accurate. It is funny though. It's quite funny. It's even funnier that once again a gooner tried to tell us that Capcom's ruining things when in fact it was like Gooner with his hentai games.
So far, no harmful viruses have been found in the Capcom games. Well, other than the fictional viruses in Mega Man Battle Network. Still, yeah, the whole thing is rather silly and harmful, not only to the games, but communities too. God, don't get me started on the reports of Capcom going after YouTubers for using mods, or the Mega Man X Dive NFT stuff.
Still, one of the funniest things that's ever happened in Capcom history. X Dive NFTs. The greatest of all time. It's so funny. It's just so funny. I will comment though, and I did overblow this, but to be perfectly fair, I have a very legitimate like whole thing with just people in general taking down videos and whatnot. And I'll comment on the NFTs afterwards. But basically, like, yeah, sometimes companies do just take videos down and whatnot, and it might be just one video, might be a whole bunch, but and then like it's easy to like again take the one story and just kind of blow it up, right? But it is still a scary thing because a company can literally just come by and just take a video down just cause, and they absolutely can. That's the scary part. But even though to me, even though it's just one video, you shouldn't be worried about it too much. At least to me, I'm a very paranoid person, so it's like that's still scary in itself. I just wouldn't want to fuck around with that if I had to, because like even to be perfectly honest with you, sometimes Capcom videos or when you play Capcom games, some of those like me and ShadowRock have encountered this from time to time. Sometimes those videos would be picked up by copyright. I believe it's copyright. And it's done by Capcom, but the reason why is for that is because they have the whole thing with their you know how they have their trailers for when they show off the games and whatnot. Well, they have it set like automatically if like that music or that or the footage was picked up, it'll automatically it'll automatically not fully strike at the channel, but like pick up like say, hey, just so you know, you have some footage here that's being picked up by so and so. And Capcom was pretty good with it. They're like, hey, if you bring it up, we'll like take that away, right? Because it's a thing that's done automatically and whatnot. Here's an even more fucked up thing, and it's part of the reason why I don't necessarily use Mega Man 8 music. So me and ShadowRock, and I believe a few others of us in the crew back then, we found out like every time we use like Mega Man 8 music, just the music itself, it would get picked up hardcore. But it wouldn't be Capcom themselves. It'd be like these people we've never heard of before. And it turns out the reason why is because they will take the music, sample it for their own music, and then they themselves copyright it. So it's not Capcom putting the takedown, the copyright or flagging your video. It's the person who took their music, sampled it to make their own music or whatever, and then they go after you. And that to me I was like, what? That's insanity, bro. And as far as I'm aware, I mean, I like, because I've kind of used music from all Mega Mans, or at least I try to. I believe it's only 8 that really does this. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it is what it is, I guess. So, and yeah, that was a bizarre thing. But even so, going back to the point, it does still kind of freak me out a bit because literally YouTube is unfortunately that place where you like all it takes is one report, and all of a sudden your channel could be in hot water. It doesn't have to be a legitimate claim. It could even be illegitimate. It's like crazy, but you know, I mean, you just gotta live through it at the end of the day. And I know I said I was going to go back to the NFTs, but what the fuck else is really to say? They had these dumbass sprites, and they try to sell it to you for crypto. Like, whatever, bro. Just right-click and save it.
Okay, that last one is more on Capcom Taiwan, but still, it's all rather disappointing to hear. Point being, ain't nobody in their right mind is going to be out here trying to defend old Capcom right now. Funnily enough, their Capcom Town website is holding a super election survey at the time of this video. One of the questions is surprisingly very self-aware to many of our complaints, such as needs to communicate with his fans better, too slow to release new number titles, too money oriented.
This still irks me to this very day, man. Like, you are literally, like, you absolutely know. Why? And I hate the fact that they said, do you have a complaint? Please select the one. It's like, no, motherfucker. Let me select more than one because I can't, like, most of these problems here are kind of big. I can't just pick one. Are you kidding me, bro? Like, which is the one that I picked? I think nobody would pick this one. No complaints here. No, shut up. To be fair to Revo, this survey was not out. Like, he, to his credit, I will be fair. By the time the video came out, I think the survey was already, like, it was either just came out or it was coming out. Like, you also have to realize too, just because the video came out at a certain date, that doesn't necessarily mean that it took that long to like make the video. I'm pretty sure that video was in the works for quite some time. So by the time he was about to finish, then maybe he like I don't think the survey was even a thing until when the video came out. So he feasibly couldn't address the survey at all. So I can't blame him. So for that at all. In fact, I think I even mentioned in the reaction when I was reacting to that, I talked about it, but it's because it came out when I reacted to it. But he obviously is not going to say anything about it because he can't. But if I had to pick one, yeah, needs to communicate with fans is the number one issue. I think that's the one I picked as well.
Or reboot old IPs already. Honestly, all of the above could work aside from maybe lame designs. I think Capcom designs are cool. Only issue is you can only choose one. Now, that is lame. But then comes this question. Is there a game that you would like to see completely remade with the latest technology, including character design and story direction? Ooh, an original Ace Attorney trilogy remake? Ooh, oh boy. I don't have any objections to that. Hold it. Do I see Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 remakes right there? Alright, on one hand, if any game...
It's right here, John. You can't see the mouse, but I'm hovering over the not here. It's Jover Bros. We're not getting the Dino Crisis Bros.
deserves a Mega Man 11 style remake, it should be Mega Man World 5 on Game Boy. I would even take a remake compilation of all the Game Boy titles. Get all Mega Man Mania up on this. Releasing the first 3 entries again is not exactly what a lot of people in the fandom are looking to see right now, especially since Legacy Collection 1 already exists, among other ports. And if you want to remake, Mega Man The Wily Wars and Mega Man Powered Up for 1 exist as well. Though I wouldn't say no to a Powered Up 2 and 3, the PSP remakes are sick, in a good way. On the other hand, there is some merit to the idea of a modern remake. Making over the original trilogy in the vein of the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy treatment could be cool, and it may be one of the best ideas to get more people into the ecosystem and playing Mega Man, which is something the franchise needs desperately because the existing fans aren't going to live forever. This could also entice the older folks that mostly know the series for the original trilogy, aka just Mega Man 2 and 3. Speaking of, Mega Man 3 did suffer from a rushed development, leading to cut ideas and a somewhat unfinished product. So a proper remake would be a chance to give 3 a second chance at greatness and maybe implement some lost content. Regardless, this one question certainly got the Doom posting going, and to be fair, a lot of them were probably under the impression that Capcom was only asking about Mega Man, when in reality, this question features a ton of other franchises as potential candidates. That being the case, I don't think it's really worth getting angry over a survey that we don't know whether it will manifest as a tangible product or not.
That is true. I chose Ace Attorney because I'll be real, it would be really nice to see like a more modern-esque versions of the Ace Attorneys. I feel like there's like no wrong answer here, to be perfectly honest with you. Although there are some I just don't even know, to be perfectly honest here. But I'll reiterate what I said in the previous reaction. Well, I'm not too happy with the fact that like they're mentioning Mega Man specifically 1, 2, and 3 Classic. I don't think that's a terrible idea either, because it really would modernize like Mega Man, like because like I think we're all in agreement. Classic is like the easiest to get into, next to X, but mostly Classic it's very easy to get into. Like if you wanted to introduce Mega Man into to a person who's just never played it though. So imagine Classic, the Classic remakes in their newer engines, and modernized, remade. Definitely the quality of life would go so high it's not even funny. It would be phenomenal. I would be so happy if they did it. It still sucks that it's the Classic, but hey, to be perfectly honest with you, if you're going to try and introduce Mega Man to the broader audience, it sucks, but Classic is like the way to go, you know? Like it's definitely and not to mention, I do have full faith in Capcom that they can find the balance of appeasing their old fans while definitely making it more very welcoming to the newer fans. For sure. Like I feel like if any of these games were remade modernly now, they have that down pat. It's kind of insane. I have to give them that. Honestly speaking, most of my faith comes from Resident Evil 2 Remake, because sweet Jesus, that's such a good game.
I am going to leave a link to the survey down below, because it is important to do whatever we can to communicate our feelings to Capcom, as long as it doesn't turn into harassment of employees or something. I'm not saying they will follow through with our wishes per se, because at the end,
for all we know, they can just take all the answers, just throw it in the trash, bro. But I do have to agree with that point, though. It's like this shouldn't be like your gateway to be like dear Capcom intern Coon, fuck you, and then just that's it, because that's not gonna mean anything to them. They're just gonna brush the shit off. In fact, they might even just ignore it. I don't know, but you know, this is like, if you want to be critical, you know, like be critical, but don't be too volatile with it. Just be firm but gentle. If that makes sense.
At the day, they are a company
Assuming it's still up. I don't
with a
even know if it's
single
still
goal of making money. So their top brass and shareholders get priority in the decision making no matter what. The key is to get those people at the top of the food chain thinking
golden
about the
rule, don't be
importance of the
stupid.
Blue Bomber. And you know, there might be a sign of the tide turning already. Last year in July, during the 44th General Shareholder Meeting, shareholders started asking about the future of the franchise and the potential for ports. Here is what was said. Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection was released in April and has surpassed 1 million units in sales, contributing to existing IP utilization and user expansion. What are your plans for the Mega Man series? Including Mega Man 11, the latest entry in the franchise, Mega Man is one of Capcom's historic IPs and is loved by fans, and as such, we want to take care in how we develop the series. We are considering how to approach the production of new entries in the series, which requires numerous factors, including the development of a solid concept, ideas, and gameplay, etc. Tell me your plans for new ports or collections in the Mega Man series. We are considering our approach to ports of past entries titles, which includes addressing technical issues. In other words, trust me bro, we're working on it. Which at the very least is the opposite of saying they're doing nothing, and that about sums up our current situation.
I kind of do wonder if they, I'm not going to assume they're going to release the other collections for Star Force and Legends. We're just going to hope for it, but I kind of do wonder what can they do for those games to make them like, I don't know. Because I'll tell you right now, I've never played Legends at all, so I would kind of wonder, like, what would they do to, like, kind of help it, like, give it that quality of life, you know? That'll be the one. Change the controls. I don't know if they'd go that. I mean, I would hope they would, but I don't know if they would actually. And then I'll be honest. I think when it comes to Star Force, what can they do? Really? I mean, they'll have to do something similar with the touchscreen that they did for ZX and ZXA, because it does utilize the touchscreen quite a bit, not just, you know, menuing and stuff. So I'd be quite interesting. And I would especially like to see like collections for like those not even just the spin-offs, but I mean like the Game Boy games, you know? Like sure they're kind of like, at least the X-ones are kind of like just Mega Man X, but like a bit different. But I would I'd like to see those in a collection. That'd be pretty cool, you know?
At this time, I wish to directly address sentiments that I have seen shared in the community, Q&A style. So, let's go, Lan. Why don't they just make yearly Mega Man sequels again? Resident Evil and Monster Hunter have no problem getting yearly titles out the door, so wouldn't that mean more?
Oh my god, you guys need to listen to this shit so goddamn bad, it's not even funny.
More money? Isn't the Blue Bomber their mascot? Alright, let's get this out of the way first. When Mega Man 2 came out in 1988, it did absolute gangbusters at the time.
Go ahead, I'll address it afterwards.
1 million units sold. That is insane for the time period. Culturally, the game resonated with gamers in a big way that even Capcom hasn't forgotten, given that practically every crossover featuring classic Mega Man will have a leaf shield weapon,
Dragalia,
or some other Mega Man 2
baby!
reference or music at a bare minimum. Not to mention the numerous ports and plug-and-play consoles out there with Mega Man 2 on them. Also, Mega Man 9 does exist. Now, there's nothing wrong with capitalizing on your cash cow in the nostalgic sense, but yeah.
Well, actually, I think before he continues, that is true. Like, it wasn't even just Mega Man. It was like almost all their games in general. Like Monster Hunter kind of went through the same thing. Resident Evil kind of went through the same thing. And it was like, yeah, it was like Capcom was literally just like, by some way, shape, or form, shitting games out like crazy. And to the point where it's like, I think what they like, because they definitely tried to do this with Resident Evil, and that was to capture lightning in a bottle twice. Because Resident Evil 4 did phenomenally good. It was kind of insane how well Resident Evil 4 did. So they tried to capture that same magic again and again, as you saw with like 5, 6, and like whatever other games that came out as well. The fighting games, yeah, they definitely kind of went super hard with fighting games as well. They really just wanted to just try to they just shat games out like crazy. And look what happened. It was nuts. People remember, we got the Street Fighter Cross Tekken thing, but we never got the Tekken Cross Street Fighter thing. Yeah, that was gonna be a thing. It was literally 2 crossovers, and then like the reverse is kind of insane. And yeah, this has been a Capcom staple for such a long time. Street Fighter 2 is like the absolute testament of it. It's a they even memed it in like that DLC for I think it was Dead Rising 3, was it? They had like that multiplayer thing. They were like it was called the super hyper turbo blah 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 thing, and it was just like just title upon title upon title upon title. They know what they were doing. They absolutely know. But yeah, they just came out with a bunch of versions. Although to be fair, with Street Fighter at least 2, there weren't like patches or anything you could do. Like literally, if you were to send out a patch, you were going to you had to bring out a new cartridge. At least Capcom was generous enough to be like, hey guys, we got this cool new version. It's called the Turbo Edition, or the Hyper Edition, or the Poopy Butt Edition, things like that. Capcom was not the only games to do that, believe it or not, where they just like, quote unquote, release patches for their games. The only difference is most developers did not tell you at all. Like, there's a reason why, for example, like, when you look at the older games, there's like different versions of older games, but you personally wouldn't know that because to you the cartridge is the exact same. You just wouldn't know. But at least Capcom actually advertised it. They never outright told you that it was like a patch or anything, but they were like, this is just a newer version with new features and things like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the bias is noticeably strong. That carries over to the casual gaming audience too. And that is why the meme exists about people gassing up 2, 3, and X1 like they're the greatest games ever, but then you find out they haven't played much else the franchise has to offer. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just observing here that those games brought up happen to be the entries that sold the most. I have my own stories that highlight how people outside the fandom view the franchise. One time I was at a Hobby Lobby picking up a frame for my 86th Mega Man 11 poster, which is awesome by the way, and the store cashier asked me what I'm framing. When they heard that it was for a Mega Man poster, they said, "Oh, I don't really like old retro games, but I do like the Xbox 360. Yeah, me too. That was a fun one."
Come on, bro! We're comparing retro to 360. We're at that age, dudes. I'm old.
Another story I have is when my college classmates discovered that I have a Mega Man focused YouTube channel, and one of them immediately brought up how Mega Man 2 is really hard, even though Mega Man 2 is unique for having an easy mode in North America. So, even in a post-Mega Man 11,
Japan did the right thing, guys. They were perfectly fair in adding the other version, the other mode in the American releases, guys. We just weren't ready, bro. I believe so. I think I do remember that. That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah. I do feel like at this point, like, it's so weird to think, right? But I do think, like, the 360, PS3, and was it Wii? Yeah, I think it was Wii. Yeah, they can be considered. They can be considered retro at this point. Like it's getting to that point, you know, which is so weird to think, right? It's so bizarre. Like we say retro is like, oh, you're thinking Super Nintendo, oh, you're thinking NES, Sega Saturn, things like that. But it's like, oh god, GameCube, PS2, Xbox, now maybe 360. Guys, I can't.
World. The franchise seems to still be viewed as old, retro, and incredibly difficult. Maybe.
Also, to be perfectly fair, guys, like I love Mega Man 9. It's one of my favorite Mega Man 9s. Oh, well, it's only one Mega Man 9. It's one of my favorite Mega Man classics, but it is kind of weird to like look at Mega Man 9 that came out more recent, and then it's like, yeah, it's a wonder people think this game is the series retro, because they kind of just go back to their old style when they don't really modernize it. You know what I mean? It's like I don't blame people for thinking that, to be perfectly honest with you. 7's also my favorite, but I know 9 is definitely my top 3. 9 is definitely into my top 3. 7's probably number 1, to be honest. But yeah. Oh yeah, right. 9 is retro, but I mean, like, I'm talking like before, like when it just fairly came out, people were like saying, "Oh, that game's retro." I was like, "Yeah, it looks retro, but now it is." Oh god, guys, the loop.
Maybe the proposed remakes aren't such a bad idea after all. Anyway, I don't think anyone could argue the cultural impact of games like Mega Man 2, the first Mega Man X, and for the 2000s kids, Mega Man Battle Network. They are frequently referenced everywhere you look, even in games, anime, and manga. 2, 3, and X1 sold amazing for the time period, when the gaming hobby was more niche than it is today. So yeah, for that 80s, 90s era before the breakout successes of Resident Evil.
Also, I will say this too, just to like, I guess, add a point. Like, I understand that, like, you know, X and classics are so different, but dude, like, if someone were to personally ask me, yo, which game would I get into, I would definitely tell them go to X, because X is just peak gaming. I can gush about X all day, every day. Peak. And I feel like it's a game most people can get into. Peak.
When Monster Hunter came into play, I would agree with saying that Mega Man
Yo,
was
congrats!
a flagship IP for
I will
Capcom.
one day get one.
But
I don't know
today
when,
in
though.
the modern era,
But congrats.
you dig a little deeper and it turns out Mega Man is actually kind of a niche franchise, isn't it? From the sales data out there, and even judging from the low budgets and short length of each entry, even the RPGs are shorter than your typical game in that genre. Mega Man gives me the vibes of an indie IP, at least as much as one owned by a AAA developer can be. The fact that Mega Man 11 debuted at a $30 price tag instead of a full $60 one tells me that Capcom probably feels the same. The low budgets and short length is the entire point of the Mega Man franchise though. The games are cheaper to produce, and especially in the pre-HD era, they didn't take long to make. So earning a profit isn't a hard task at all, as long as the sales remain strong enough to be sustainable. And that last sentence right there is where the problem presented itself right before the beginning of the Dark Ages. First of all, did you know that you can count the number of original, non-collection Mega Man titles that broke the 1 million units mark on just one hand? Seriously, let's list them right now. Mega Man 11, 1.8 million. Mega Man 2, 1.51 million.
Yep.
Mega Man Battle Network 4, 1.34 million. Mega Man X, 1.16 million. And finally, Mega Man 3 at 1.08 million. Then there are two collections on the Platinum list. Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 at 1.5 million. Wow, it's actually kind of close to dethroning Mega Man 2 as well, though you could say that's just more Mega Man 2 supremacy. And then Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 at 1.1 million. More X1 sweeps. Now, Mega Man X Legacy Collection 1 is actually a recent addition to the list last year, proving the...
Yeah, it's kind of insane that, like, literally only 5 of these games only sold up to, like, sold over 1 million out of 169. I wonder if that counts the collections as well, when it counts, like, the total number of games. So, yeah. The thing as well, too, is, I can answer that question as to why Battle 4 sold that well. It is very simple. Basically, Battle 3 was so well received that it's like, oh shit, you guys. 3 is like this super great game. Oh man, I can't wait to play 4. And then they play 4. And then they love it, and it's fantastic. It's great. It is peak. I can't even say with a straight face. Oh, I can, technically speaking, because I absolutely feel that way. But it is like, I won't deny that the expectations from 3 to 4 did hella fall down. And then, yeah, it kind of just, yeah. They weren't ready for the tournament arcs, you guys. They weren't ready. They weren't ready. They were too ahead of their time. They couldn't do it. Oh man. But no, that basically is like one of the reasons why. It's because like it basically rode from a high wave, and you can like even if it's bad, it's still gonna sell fairly well because of the expectations coming from the previous. But then yeah, well, yeah. My bad. He wasn't ready for the tournament. Nobody was ready for the tournament arc, baby. They weren't ready.
Fact that all of these collections, along with Mega Man 11, have long legs on them years after release. But you do notice that they count the volumes separately, which is why BNLC isn't on here yet. Anyway, that's not a whole lot of games, right?
I'm still curious
and
how much
three
each
of those
one
original
sold.
games came out in that late 80s, early 90s golden era. Meanwhile, Bound Number 4 was certainly riding on the peak of its series in the 2000s, with the
Peak
hype
gaming
around
right here,
Bound Number
baby!
3 being so good, at least to most people. The ongoing anime, merchandise, and even Capcom's marketing was on point that year. And of course, we got the recent success of Mega Man 11. I believe that's all, folks. Now let's take a step back and look at the broader picture. According to Capcom's official game series sales webpage, Mega Man places number 4 amongst the IPs, behind Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and Resident Evil. Not too shabby, right? Until you look at the sheer number of titles Mega Man has, 169, and only 7 of those made it to the Platinum list? Holy smokes, the ratio. Resident Evil serves as an interesting direct comparison here, as it has almost exactly the same number of titles, but more than triple the unit sales that Mega Man has. Well, I know which one of these is getting all the AAA budgets and marketing love.
Yeah, this right here, this was like, when I first saw this, I was like, dude, just now literally just seeing the numbers in front of you. All it took was some guy to put the numbers in front of you. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. It's true. My scrunkly Leon Scott Kennedy. He's great. But yeah, it's to see to see like they both have the similar amount of titles, literally just one off, but over triple, my guys. That's insane. Like, damn, guys, that's nuts. My favorite Scrunkly Leon. He is in fact carrying this franchise. It is still pretty good though. Like Devil May Cry wishes they were there, and like, oh god, I wish I had that tweet. But yeah, man, like that is true. Like Resident Evil 4 is still fucking insane. Like it's still selling like crazy cakes. So I just you know, that's nuts. Let's go back to here though. Right.
Well, I know which one of these is getting all the AAA budgets and marketing love. Speaking of being fair, that is something Capcom could seriously improve on, is market Mega Man more in general. But maybe because of the low budgets, that's not exactly the most feasible thing to do. So yeah, 41 million is a cool number, but it was a result of quantity over quality more than anything else. Until the titles released within the last 5 years helped boost the overall count by...
Alright, hold on. Let me see. 2649. What was the let me see Monster Hunter real quick. Okay. So they don't have that much of a big saturation, but Monster Hunter did actually kind of go through that as well. Where well, I personally speaking, right? Before World, I considered Monster Hunter going through the through the Pokemon route, where it's like the same game for each generation, and there's like new features and things like that here and there, new gimmicks here and there, but overall it's the same game as time goes on. It was only until World that truly shook up the formula and just like really changed it and made it much more accessible to more people than just the hardcore to play the game. So, you know, I'm very happy with where Monster Hunter is right now, especially with Worlds coming out. Oh god, I cannot wait for Worlds. Oh sweet Jesus. But yeah, they all kind of were like on that boat, you know, where how many of the 98 titles, how many Street Fighters are different versions of 2? And ain't no fucking way. Well, yeah, that is for sure as well, and not to mention Monster Hunter. Only fairly recently was like started being made more in the West. Like Monster Hunter had games in the past, but they like sprinkled that like very very seldom. Like you had like the one for the PS2, and then where it kind of sort of picked up was the one for the Wii, and then there was like the one for the PSP and things like that. So it like, and I do remember there was an operation kind of similar to the one for Xenoblade 1. But yeah, they wanted to bring the PSP game. I believe it was the PSP game, Portal 3rd. They wanted to bring that over to the States, to the Western audience, to be specific. So yeah, it took a long time, and eventually now it's like this behemoth standing alongside the rest, you know. So I'm really happy where Monster Hunter is at now. And yeah, they milked the shit out of Street Fighter. I mean, they still did. Like, didn't they come out with the HD remix really recently? It just never ends.
Look at the sheer number of titles.
It's 49.
Quality issue boosts the overall count by quite a bit. This quantity over quality issue and pulling stunts like developing Mega Man 7 in only 3 months, yeah, you heard that right, didn't bother Capcom so much heading into the 2000s era, but it sure reared its ugly head by the end until it was too late. Their sales strategy at the time was to release at least one new...
Just look at this, man. Just look at this calendar.
New entry in their IPs a year, and if the combined total of that IP's releases reached a certain threshold, that IP will continue to get games greenlighted for production in the following year.
Absolute insanity that a new franchise or a new series was introduced in the franchise, and within the same fucking year, the sequel comes out. Absolutely insanity. And that one game is like part of the reason why Battle Network is loved to this very day, because I don't hear many people hollering and going crazy for one. People love two. It's insanity that they're just 9 months apart. That's unheard of. Insane.
That is how we got into situations with anywhere from 4 to a whopping 8 different games.
And by the way, he won't show it obviously because this is a Mega Man video, but around this time as well, just imagine like the other games kind of getting this sort of treatment as well. Maybe not this crazy like Mega Man, but they were doing kind of the same.
Games dropping in a single year. It doesn't matter if any of the individual games don't sell well. As long as altogether they equal a profit, they would keep producing more. Granted, each title came from a different subseries and went back and forth between the 2D side-scrollers that everybody...
Sweet mother of mercy. How's that cow alive? How is that cow alive? As far as I'm aware, Capcom did not make Pokemon, but I'm talking about Capcom specific. I'm not talking about Pokemon. But I mean, to be fair, you can probably say the same that other devs also did it as well. But the greatest of all time, there it is, the GOAT. Oh my god, this is like, holy shit, bro.
Everybody is familiar with in the RPGs. And I'll be honest, during the 2000s, the RPGs were carrying the 2D side-scrollers pretty dang hard. Zero and ZX may not have gone on as long as they did without Battle Network and Star Force. So there was a mega...
Oh my god. And by the way, guys, in case you forgot, they were doing collections even back then.
Mega Man for everyone as the commercial goes. And purely from a fan perspective, this era was the greatest time to be a fan ever, just because of the sheer number of new content coming out constantly. The problem wasn't the fans, it was the general audience and the media. There were so many dang games that people were struggling to keep up with it all, let alone buy them all. As for the media, during this time, you would be hard pressed to find a review that did not include a snide remark like, "Oh boy, another Mega Man game." Probably the greatest example being X-Play's Mega Man Battle Network 6 review on G4 TV, where they were practically begging for the franchise to die already.
We review lots of Mega Man games. Lots. Apparently, they decided to create an alternate Mega Man universe so they could crank out more games. But they made it, so we gotta review it. Here's Mega Man Battle Network 6. But in the world of the GBA, a new acronym has emerged. MMBN 6. Wait, what? Another Mega Man game? Oh, for f***'s sake. Why don't you just shove a pencil up my urethra so I can get it over with? God, I hate these games. Oh, come on. This game is exactly like the other 5 Battle Network games. That's it. Forget this game. If Capcom is going to have a robot pump out these games, then a robot can finish my review. Coma. That's what Mega Man needs. A nice, long Days of Our Lives style coma.
Yeah. About that coma, I think he got his wish. I think, I'm not sure. I'll be honest, G4 TV was a channel, like, I think at the time I always wanted, but I never had. Because, like, the times we had cable was, like, it was very dependent. But yeah, like I couldn't tell you, to be perfectly honest with you. I never really kept up with G4 TV like that, but yeah, oops. Thanks,
As you can
Nostradamus.
see, the fans were happy, but the general gaming audience was getting real sick and tired of being bombarded. Mega Man was becoming Call of Duty at this point, the difference being the casual gaming audience actually likes Call of Duty. Like seriously, how did we get Bound Network 1 and 2 in the same year in Japan? It's funny that Mega Man 9 and 10 had a bigger gap between them than a lot of these other sequels that came out less than a year apart. And I definitely remember the former admin of the Mega Man Network talking about their struggles to cover the whammy of Mega Man X7, Mega Man 02, Bound Network 3, and Network Transmission all at once in 2003. Then Japan still got Bound Network 4 arriving just at the tail end of that. God.
Yeah, dipshits. Y'all should have just been happy you got all these games, bro. That is true, though. Like, imagine being a reviewer and, like, you had to play all these games. Holy shit. I'd feel bad. Like, because especially, like 3 is an RPG. 4 is also an RPG. And RPGs take a while, so yeah, I couldn't imagine. I legit could not imagine how could you do it? We need Mega Man Soccer remake. Ugh, hell yeah, brother. Make it international, call it football.
Holy! As a result of people not keeping up, sales decreased year over year to the point that the fans alone could not sustain the franchise any longer. The big wigs at Capcom never greenlighted Mega Man 3 because the sales of Legends 2 a decade ago were abysmal. That, along with the current decline, likely sealed its fate before it could ever be discussed. I will say they should have released a prototype demo as promised though. KJ Inafune leaving when he did certainly did not help with this whole situation either, but honestly, I think the writing was already on the wall long before that. There was a Mega Man X9 in pre-production shortly after X8 came out, but that got canned. In recent years, we learned that Mega Man ZX3, or ZXC as they called it, and Mega Man Star Force 4 were both in pre-production, but were then shelved due to ZX Advent performing too poorly to warrant a sequel, forcing Inti-Creates to take the gameplay systems they were working on and try to implement it into Mega Man 9. Meanwhile, they were seeing that the sales were declining with Star Force 3, which, by the way, wasn't even released in Europe. At the time, Capcom attempted to bring back...
I completely forgot these games didn't come out in Europe, because now I'm going off by memory, but I'm pretty sure the Star Force 3s didn't even break 500k sales. That's nuts.
Back the old Bound Network fan base that were decidedly not interested in Star Force by refining Star Force Mega Man's Buster design and making additions to the gameplay and story that harken back to the Bound Network series. The game did turn out amazing, one of the best on the DS. However, unfortunately it was too little too late. The final attempt to bring both fandoms together was Rockman EXE Operate Shooting Star, an enhanced port of Bound Network 1 to the DS with a time travel scenario featuring a playable Star Force Mega Man slapped in right before the endgame, along with a Star Coliseum.
It's so weird seeing Geo moving, like, in a 3x3 area when he's, like, used to just a 3x1 area. Kind of nuts. But, yeah, it's like, at this point, we're just kind of done. There's, like, that's whatever. I don't care. And that's sad. It is what it is.
Minigame. Unfortunately for Capcom, the game was panned worldwide as being low effort, and it failed miserably in the Japanese market. As a result, Capcom didn't even bother.
Was that one version or both versions? Because I think the number I gave out was both versions combined. But if that's both versions, wow.
They're bringing OSS over to the West, leaving fan translators with the task of localizing it themselves years later. By fan translators, I mean the Rockman EXE zone, which, by the way, they recently announced that they are working on a English patch for Rockman EXE fan.
As a reminder, this is mega news. You gotta bring out the news. You know, the news of these games. They're being translated. Pretty cool. Okay, so that is both. Yeah. Star Force. Oops.
Into the network that was recently preserved. We have a video about that. And according to Midori, who was the original owner of the phone that the game was on, but is now translating it for them, apparently the translation work is going along very well.
They are,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, that's great news. Anyway, back to EXE OSS. Unfortunately,
you can hear that. It's like, back to OSS. Damn.
that would be the end of the 2 RPG series until last year's BNLC. The same year Star Force 3 dropped, Capcom and Inti Create said, "Hey, remember Mega Man 2? Yep, they shocked the world by creating Mega Man 9, one of the last attempts at generating some goodwill with older fans with an 8-bit revival of the classic series, coming in about a decade after Mega Man 8. Boy, and you thought the gap between 10 and 11 was bad. Generally, this retro revolution idea worked out great for them. And yeah, you can tell that they are 100% playing to the Mega Man 2 nostalgia, from returning music tracks all the way down to taking away Mega Man's charge shot and slide, which was then given to Proto Man as an exclusive. But Mega Man 9 was still a...
I didn't even really think about that, because to be fair, I didn't really play the classic games until fairly recently, so I wasn't I wasn't used to that, right? So I do remember not really struggling with oh wait, I can't do this, oh wait, I can't do that. But it is kind of funny that they basically say, all right, you know what, you forgot how to charge shot, you forgot how to slide, so all you are is just jump and shoot, man.
A great game, and it inspired a crazy number of retro-style indie games that I believe the effects are still felt today. Albeit, even I have to admit it was tough. Mega Man 9 certainly did well enough for itself, enough for them to go forward into 10 about a year and a half later. 10 still had the 8-bit style, but you could tell that it was trying to be more original than just another Mega Man 2. A lot of effort went into it as well, such as bringing back a ton of returning Mega Man composers for the music. Unfortunately, 10 didn't end up performing quite as well. The decline was already settling in by this point, and I guess you can only play the nostalgia card once before people get tired of that too.
The joke really is, what's this, Land Before Time? Yeah, you can only do it for so long till, yeah.
By the end of the 2000s, Capcom had milked the franchise for all it had too fast and too soon. Not only was the general audience losing interest, but even the fans noticed a drop in quality of certain games. Then, during the Legends 3 debacle, Inafune departed from the company, essentially putting the final nail in the coffin. I know that we all love to poop on the man for various reasons that he did after leaving Capcom, and apparently we can poop on him for what he did while he was still at Capcom, because yeah, Mega Man Universe was another game that was going to be cancelled. It was kind of like a Mario Maker before.
Man, I still look at this game and I'm thinking is this real, man? Is this true? I don't get it. I don't was it really that bad with Inafune? I know it wasn't great, but I mean he did at least literally just with Mega Man. It's honestly speaking, the reason why Mega Man is at where it's at today, you can definitely point at him, because he's the one who truly try to get these games going like crazy, and it just didn't work out, man. It dusting work, man. Look at them. They might even know the greatest of all time.
Or Mario Maker, stuff from Mega Man, but it turns out that game was going to collapse on itself no matter what due to mismanagement, cheapening out on really novice developers, and of course Inafune's over-ambitious ideas. Rockman Corner has a great article about this that you should definitely check out. Another notable game that got cancelled during all that was Mega Man Online, the MMO that was being made in Korea.
I still remember
the cancellation of that
wasn't
one
the trailer
was
for this
more
game
attributed to the studio behind it closing down, and not so much Capcom themselves. So they get a pass on that one. Regardless, when the man was still at Capcom, he was in a position of power to push for more Mega Man. The Mega Man 11 development team would later admit that without Inafune around, they were pretty dang lost as to what to do next and just kind of let it go for years until Coach Yoda came knocking on Kazuhiro Tsuchiya's door like, hey, why
Yep, there was going to be an MMO, and they said, nope.
aren't we making Mega Man no more? Getting back to the question now, why don't they do yearly sequels anymore? One, the oversaturation and lack of care prior to the Dark Ages is probably still fresh in their mind, and they are arguably being too overly cautious not to repeat their past mistakes. That is why they adopted their evergreen strategy, and why they don't mind letting one game accumulate additional sales over a long period of time. I think the new strategy is working out though, since Mega Man 11 and a couple of the collections have shown to have long legs past their respective release dates. Something we haven't seen Mega Man games achieve up to this point. I can see them sticking with the strategy for the foreseeable future. 2. Game development is a vastly different world nowadays. No longer is it possible to pump out sequels in half a year, simply because HD and 4K development has significantly increased dev times and costs.
That is definitely something I don't think many people fully realize. It's like, it is true. Back then, game development, albeit still hard, compared to today's game development, is such a different world. It's an absolutely different world. So it's like, a lot of the things that you have to do now, it takes up so much more time. And not to mention, not even just time, money. A lot of money. And that's like nuts. Insane. So yeah, and I do agree Oda should be the man, the Mega Man man. But I don't know, we'll just have to see how it goes. It truly does feel, it definitely does feel like because of what Inafune did with Mega Man and just kind of just completely shotgun these games out like that, it's really hard to like want to put something in the like nowadays it's really hard to just like kind of put it on the table when now gaming in itself is more expensive to make than back then. Yeah, no, that's the issue. The game development back then is much cheaper prior to today. So you have to think now. You can't do that shotgun process now because it's gaming now. Developing games now it's much more expensive, and so to try to do that today, you're going to be losing a lot of money, and that's why they can't do that. And because of that entire surge of Mega Man games, it's just they don't want that repeat. They do not want that repeat, and they're like, we have to be careful. We have to be basically surgical precision in order to absolutely get a good Mega Man game out there like that. True. So yeah. And not to mention, I don't know if you've been paying attention to gaming in general, but there's been a lot of layoffs lately, so damn.
We already saw this with Mega Man 11 and Mega Man X Dive, that were in development for 2 years or more. And yeah, that sounds about right. 2 years is...
Also, this is also another reason why they go live service games, because yeah, they're expensive, but you'll have a much better time getting people to purchase things via live service than, say, purchase a video game that's static and won't really have like any other additional purchases. And if there are any other additional purchases, it'll be very limited in comparison to, say, if you were to make a live service game, which are expensive, but if done correctly, if done right, at least in the business sense, will definitely make up for it. But even then, like, to keep them up is kind of insane. So when I do live service Mega Man games, they did! They absolutely did! It was called Dive!
Practically the bare minimum these days. As for the question of why it is always Resident Evil and Monster Hunter, I mentioned how 1 million was great for Mega Man 2, 3, and X1 back in their period, because the gaming hobby was still kind of niche back then compared to today. Now that...
Yeah, they did it. They definitely did it. Next time. It's like, here it is. Here it is, you guys. Here's our live action game, Mega Man Rockman X Dive, baby. That is true. Like, gacha games are live service games. They just have a different name to it. It's just like, but no, that's precisely what it is. You're purchasing microtransactions to continue playing a game. Of course, with Dive, you don't see like Axe being choked by some vine and being told, "Hey, if you don't pay X amount of dollars, or if you wait 4 hours, you can't continue." Stupid things like that. But even then, it's like, yeah, it's still a thing. And ooh, the fabled Rockman Tyson. Oh dear. I don't know. I listen. I'm just gonna wait if they ever reveal what Tyson is in due time. If they ever, sure. I'm just like, I feel like Tyson, at least personally for me, it's not a thing I'm gonna be like, hey guys, can't wait for Tyson. I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait.
That gaming has become mainstream over the past couple decades, we are seeing bigger, higher budget titles like Resident Evil and Monster Hunter that sell multiple millions of copies with each release. And while a single million is still a great milestone worthy of a sequel, it's still going...
That is also true. It's like, hey guys, we sold 1 million copies. That's awesome in Pogger sauce. And then you're like, yeah, get to the double-digit millions, and then we'll talk.
To pale in comparison to the big guys in the room. That said, it is bad to put all your eggs in one basket. Inafune himself taught us that lesson. Diversity...
I don't think you're understanding what a live service game is and compared to Dive, because basically the currency that you're buying to get these characters, that's the service. That's live. So yeah.
Is a good thing. However, when a major worldwide event like the COVID pandemic happens, forcing you to make decisions on what projects to prioritize your dwindling time and resources on, which ones would you choose to keep the company afloat? Are all the legacy collections a sign of laziness and purely cashing in on nostalgia? Okay, I want new games too, but come on, that is just unfair to say. Ask yourself this. If these collections were truly low effort, would BNLC have online connectivity at all? Because I'll tell you now, they could have easily left it single player only and called it a day, much like the Wii U Virtual Console ports. What about X Challenge or Z Chaser? Would those still exist in a quick cash grab collection?
Personally speaking, I like to call quadruple A games games.
How about the fact that the ZeroZX Legacy Collection is a source port with high quality cutscenes and voiceovers for the ZX games? And Bound Network is like a hybrid source port, and they address some issues that fans used to have about the games. Heck, they even got the Capcom sound team making brand new music tracks and lots of brand new remixes for the last 3 collections that came out. Sorry, but I don't buy the low effort collection narrative. But I will tell you what.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these collections, they weren't just, let's put these games onto like a thingy and then just ship it, right? These were like, these actually had like work put into them. Never in my days I would ever have thought to officially be playing the Battle Network 6 Japanese versions of these. I mean, the Battle Network Japanese versions of these games. I would have never thought that in my entire life. If I ever wanted to delve into that via emulator, I would. So, yeah, it's like, come on, guys. Like, no, these are not lazy. Like, I do absolutely, god damn it, Automod. I do absolutely understand, like, oh, it's just putting games into a thing and just selling it out there, but they're the same games that we bought as time went on. Sure, I absolutely get that. But again, like, at least with Mega Man, they actually put in some effort. Yeah, that Battle Network 6 is like one of the biggest examples. Like, we would not be getting like the Immortal era, we would not be getting the Boktai stuff. We wouldn't even be getting Hakushaku or the Count, any of that stuff, if it wasn't for the fact that they decided to let you play the Japanese versions, you know, the versions that we ourselves never got, but the Japanese did, and now we get to experience what they experienced when these games first came out. And that's great. That's phenomenal. And yes, they even made new music for some of these tracks in the game. It's like, it's unheard of. What the fuck, you know? Where are the spin-off games then? I think Capcom has like an email that you can send them an email, and then maybe ask them that question, and then they might put that email into the recycling bin. I'm just saying, I don't know. Right.
What I think the purpose of them existing are. One, Capcom loves to put out the impression that Capcom was only asking about
I did it, you guys. Oh god damn it. I knew I'd do it. Oh, here it is. Found it.
But I will tell you what I think the purpose of them existing
Where is it? Oh, you know what? Gotta go back.
One, Capcom loves...
What the fuck, you guys? What the fuck, you... Guys. It's the first. I thought it was just one. No, I know Street Fighter 2 had a lot. This is really funny to see.
Loves to put out,
and not to mention, you also have to count now the newer stuff, which is really funny.
Collections or similar re-releases to perform what we call the
Oh my god, dude. Look at these, man.
Capcom test. They have been known to use the sales data in reaction to these re-releases to gauge interest in a new entry, as was the case with Mega Man Legacy Collection 1's success, literally being the reason Mega Man 11 exists. Don't believe me? Here is what Tsuchiya had to say in an interview with VentureBeat at the time. What was really nice was, when we released Mega Man Legacy Collection, it did really well, Tsuchiya told me. It had 1 million sales worldwide. It was very much a way of numerically showcasing to people internally that there is a strong fan base. There are people waiting for a new Mega Man game. We were able to show that with those numbers. We wouldn't have been able to do that without our fans. I am very thankful to our fan base. I know that worrying about sales so much is a thing that should be more the concern of the companies and the shareholders, and honestly it probably should remain that way. But hearing this stuff right here really drives home the point that the sales kind of do matter. And the reason why we talk about it so dang much is that it's a tangible number signifying how much support the games are getting and how much our support is getting through to the companies. And of course, more support equals more games, so the higher the number, the better. It's elementary.
Yeah, so to kind of add on to that, although I kind of did go over a bit, yes, sales do matter, but that's kind of this is kind of why Mega Man hasn't like gone super crazy, we haven't seen another Mega Man game. 1 million seems impressive, but then when your other games are doing tens of millions per copy, yeah, they're like 1 million does sound nice, but when compared to those numbers, that's when it's like, do we really truly want to do we truly want to go Mega Man when you have Resident Evil that did over 10 million sales units? Same with Monster Hunter. Yeah, it's yeah. And then yeah, you have those games that didn't even reach the the million unit mark. They're fucked beyond belief. At the very least, Mega Man isn't kicked off the table. It's just sitting like at the far end at the table, whereas Monster Hunter and Resident Evil are sitting at the front next to Daddy Capcom.
Number 2, listen. For many, if not all these series, it had been a decade or more.
But it does matter. I should definitely preface, it does matter. Like, I'm not saying that it doesn't, but it does. But do understand that is why like we're not seeing it as much. So it truly does become looking at the glass half full, half empty type of philosophy. So yeah.
Since we saw a new release for them, a lot can change in that time, including there being a whole new generation of kids and adults that don't know what Mega Man is thanks to its relative absence. That being the case, it's a prime opportunity to reintroduce the Blue Bomber to the world and catch everyone up on the past before they even think about sequels. After all, we know that you can pretty much play the side scrollers in any order you want, but for anyone who knows literally nothing about Mega Man, they'll look at that 11 in the title and be like, oh, that's a lot of games. Do I need to play the other ones first? Of course, this whole idea of catching everybody up hitches on Capcom doing something to capitalize on the renewed interest.
The thing with games receiving an end, sure, the games received an end, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they could have done more with it. Like, look at Zero. Sure, Zero finished, but then they tried to go with ZX, ZXA, right? So the formula, the thing for Zero, the spirit of Zero was still there, but unfortunately it just was not enough. And like I said, the solution to those games is you create a tournament. No, I'm not gonna do it.
But the collections and even the proposed remakes, while not something hardcore fans want right now, aren't inherently a bad idea from a business perspective. I have already seen firsthand how these releases have become a gateway for new people to get into the franchise or try games that they
guys haven't... all of that $20. What the fuck? No excuse. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like merchandise, 1 billion% helps. Absolutely. It's not even funny. Yes, it does get old. Because it's like, well, gee, thanks for the next figure, bro. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, oh, thanks. Like, I get it. Like, you definitely want more than just a figure or a keychain. But at the very same time, they are just as important. And all I'm saying, Capcom, listen to me, Capcom. All I'm saying, a layer body pillow, I'm there. Orado.
Played before when they may not have otherwise. I mean, hey Capcom, If you want to use X-Dive to renew interest in Mega Man X Command Mission so much, actually releasing it on anything other than the PlayStation 2 and GameCube might help more people actually play it. I've seen parents introducing their kids to Mega Man for the first time thanks to 11 and the collections, and it's pretty wholesome. Maybe little by—
Can you imagine as a young child being told, son, do you want a new bike? You have to beat Mega Man Classic in order to get this new bicycle. If you don't beat Mega Man Classic, you will not be getting this bicycle. That's funny.
By little then, we can combat the meme about people in this fandom stating their opinions as fact without having played the games they're talking about. Why doesn't Capcom hire indie creators to make games anymore? What happened between them?
Okay, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. I did not know this about indie creators. It was kind of insane. Also, yes, rest in peace, my guy.
I'm adding this bonus question because it is something I get asked kinda often. The final game Capcom and Inti Creates ever worked on together was Mega Man 10 and the Mega Man Zero collection on Nintendo DS, while Keiji Inafune was still at Capcom. Then, of course, Inafune left and started his own company, Concept. Later, he introduced the infamous Mighty No. 9 Kickstarter, which Inti was brought on as the developer for. Inti and Inafune have—
Man. No, I'm gonna be real, like, the game is very mediocre. Let's not kid ourselves, right? All memes aside. No jokes, no nothing. Game was alright. It could have been so much better. I don't even say better. I would probably say like it would have had such a better reception if all that drama with the Kickstarter didn't happen, man. Like, holy moly. The PR that series went through is insane. Oh my god. I will say though, it was probably the best roller coaster I've ever been a part of for $20. It was fantastic. But I would never do it again. Ever.
been working together ever since, most recently bringing the man back to help with Azure Striker Gunvolt 3. Their relationship on display started the whole school of thoughts that, hey, Capcom hates Inafune, therefore they must hold a grudge against Inti Creates 2 for daring to work with him. I don't know if there is any way to prove or disprove that, but I'll be honest, I never got the vibe that there is bad blood between them, or at the very least, hate is a strong word to describe it. I remember when Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 was being shown on the E3 show floor, and Inti Creates devs were spotted chatting it up with Capcom reps next to the demo station, and literally every time Inti's PR people get asked about Mega Man, heck, whenever I interviewed Inti Creates, their answer is always the same, that Mega Man belongs to Capcom, and if they ever approached them to work on a new game, they would seriously consider it. Well, probably more like say yes in a heartbeat.
Okay, so I'm gonna let this part play a bit afterwards, but I do want to talk a little bit. So, do companies hold grudges against each other? I think only if it was that bad. Like if you did something so drastically horrible, then probably yeah. But otherwise, I think at that point it'd be like it was business. Like it wasn't like necessarily like it was a business decision. It wasn't like a personal decision, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so before he goes into what he's gonna say, me personally, I never thought of, oh, Capcom was upset at Inti Creates for going with Inafune. I personally thought it was more so Inti Creates, like, besides working with Capcom, also liked working with Inafune. So that's why they went with Inafune for Mighty No. 9. I saw it more as it was like, kind of loyalty, kind of, sort of, but it was like, you know, they respected each other well enough to want to work with each other again. I truly don't. I did not believe that it was like, oh, yeah, Capcom's angry because Inti Creates went with Inafune. But then he actually goes over something I didn't even know about, and it kind of now makes a bit more sense.
Since all the Mega Man callbacks in their games scream, "Take us back, please!" Even the recent Untitled project that they teased with a screenshot a bit ago uses a similar grid battlefield to that of Battle Network, except on closer inspection, it looks more like a traditional turn-based card game than purely Battle Network.
Yeah, I think guys, they like a very particular franchise. I think possible. It's a very uneducated guess. We'll have to see.
Anyway, at least we know that if there is bad blood, the aggressor isn't Inti Creates. So what the heck happened to their partnership anyway? Well, there is one theory. Recently, the Hidden Palace community shared a number of Xbox 360 prototypes, and among them was Mega Man 10. Upon closer inspection, it was discovered that Mega Man 10 at one time was going to include an assist co-op mode, where two players could play as Mega Man, Proto Man, or likely Bass on one screen. You know, that makes so much sense because Mega Man and Proto Man were working together throughout the entire storyline. Oh yeah, it's all clicking together now. This mode was set to support online functionality as well, where players could exchange ID cards that they could customize with different sprites. As for the gameplay, there are some obstacles seemingly unique to the mode, and at certain points players would have to sync up to unleash a supercharged buster shot. There was also a mechanic known as pickup standby, where the players could stop following objects and ceilings, answering the question, do they even lift bro? You could even pick up your partner and throw them around for some Super Mario multiplayer style chaos. That's funny. The community is still trying to figure out if we can get assist co-op working in the prototype, but while we wait, where am I going with this again? When Protodude of Rockman Corner initially broke the news, Midori from Mega Man Tune a Day, and I believe a former The Mega Man Network contributor from back in the day, had an interesting rumor to share. The fact this didn't get implemented is why Capcom stopped working with Inti Creates. Capcom stopped working with Inti. Zero Collection still came out on DS, but that was already in dev anyway. What I'd heard back in the day, Inti was interested in doing co-op. Capcom was like, cool, we'll help. Then Inti was like, no, we got this. And then, they didn't got it. I don't know the specifics, but Inti dropped the ball on it real hard, and it did not sit well with Capcom. And Protodude added that this does align a bit with Mega Man Universe's network features. They didn't even approach Inti for help. So to sum it up, Inti apparently dropped the ball on...
It is a theory. We will never know the absolute answer. I think he's going to go over this afterwards. So I'm not going to comment just yet. I'm going to let the video play because the segment's almost done anyways. So I'll let it play.
On the online functionality for Mega Man 10, even though it was their idea and the feature had to be cut, leading Capcom to cease working with them because of their incompetence. Honestly, if this is true, it would explain a lot. I could tell that online was never Inti's strong suit, given that Mighty No. 9 ended up getting delayed multiple times. The last delay specifically because they were working from an outdated engine and couldn't get the online mode to work in time. And you know what? Release day came and the online mode was still unplayable because whoever was the client got an unbearable amount of input lag. Almost felt like a waste of time back then, like they should have just focused on the single player where it really mattered. Oh well, so what do you guys think?
Yeah, so it is 100% a theory. There is no hard proof. We can only theorize. But knowing how awfully bad Mighty No. 9's netcode was, yeah, I actually believe it. I truly do believe that's what it was. It's yeah, like that is a giant fumble in that case. And at that point, I don't blame Capcom for not wanting to reach out to them. Although I kind of feel like, I mean, I would probably be like, we can probably give them another shot. Like, hopefully they learn from their mistake, or even better, just like don't depend on them for the online. If anything, we do it ourselves or we work together. But yeah, so I do believe this theory. I do wholeheartedly believe that is why they just haven't been together. They definitely fumbled the ball, and then because of the fumbling, Capcom's like, nah, son, no, you're out. And yeah, so will that ever change? I don't know, but for sure. Well, no shit, Neeps. It's called a theory. Hello? It's all we have. We have crumbs. And no, I do not believe that Capcom stopped working for or Capcom no longer worked with Integrates because of them working with Inafune. That I don't believe that's the case at all. It could be. That could be the reason why. We just won't never know. But considering the netcode, I find that to be much more plausible than, say, working with another person.
Plausible theory? For now, let's move on. Hey man, we showed up with our wallets, we supported all the releases, and the franchise is selling better than ever. What could possibly be taking them so long to make new games? Believe me, I hear you loud and clear. I too thought there would be something to show for all of the support by now, and that's the frustrating part. So here's my theory about what is going on. People will say that at this time, the COVID excuse no longer flies. But is that really the case? Even though society has returned to a somewhat normal state, the illness is still out there, game devs are still working remotely, and the eternal release schedules are still feeling the effects of the pandemic even today. I do not believe that Kazuhiro Tsuchiya was lying when he talked about a 10-year plan for the Mega Man franchise, and told us that the next game had already been decided and entered pre-production in 2019. I truly believe that COVID hit Capcom and the Mega Man team in particular really hard in 2020, and here are my receipts. 2021 marked the 20th anniversary of the Mega Man Bound at Work series, and a lot of folks were clamoring for a legacy collection or some other acknowledgement from Capcom to celebrate. Well, there were a few things, but overall the anniversary turned out to be kind of a nothing burger. But we did get an acknowledgement from Capcom Unity's Ochi-san, where he had this to say. If the world hadn't been in this situation, if the world hadn't been in such a state, I might have had other plans to announce. But for now, I think it's time to be patient. Of course, washing hands, gargling, and social distancing are important too. It's always Rockman who beats the virus after all. In 2023, after the Legacy Collection finally came to fruition and was released, director Masakazu Iguchi confirmed that development had begun, quote, about 2 years ago, which would align perfectly with the timing of the 20th.
Yeah, so I mean, I can just tell you outright. I'm not speaking on like Capcom's behalf or anything, but I can tell you personally, just like with just my own job in general, we're still feeling the effects of COVID. Like we are for the like 90% like fully back to what we were before COVID, but we still got people you know excuse me, we have people still working remotely from home. That's still a thing that people offer to this day. And like we are definitely feeling the repercussions of what happened with COVID. So and then obviously not every business operates in the same pace. So it could very well be that it could also very well be that hey it's going to take us a bit longer. And then if I had to guess with Capcom as well, when it comes to, you know, they have all these IPs and things and whatnot, they want to prioritize on the big stuff, right? And unfortunately, Mega Man they wanted to work on Mega Man like crazy, but it wasn't that priority. So it kind of just took the back burner because they rather concentrate on the others with how limited they were, and they're still feeling those effects this very day. So yeah, COVID to this very day is still a thing, and we should be like fully back to normal in due time, but I legitimately cannot give an accurate number, if that makes any sense. So I mean, all I can really say is, yeah, we're still kind of feeling it, and it's still kind of a thing to this day. Hell, they even just told us some new information about like you no longer have to quarantine yourself for like 5 days or so when you have it. You can just quarantine yourself for 24 hours. So it's getting better, but there's still things going on with COVID to this very day. So and he is an example of a toxic mega. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's almost undeniable. I hate saying that about people. Because I definitely am the type of person who always believes in like there's like in the benefit of the doubt. It's like, you know, I do believe that there's like some good to it or not, but yeah, I do. It truly is the duality. Mega Man fans, nuts. But yeah, let me and actually I'll say this before I truly pause it. It wouldn't be such a giant problem being a doom and gloom, or at least much more assertive with what you want from Capcom. Like, there are some legitimate things that he did say that I do agree with, but it does fall under presentation and the way you conduct yourself. Like, you're better, you'll have a lot more longevity and a better time, you know, being like, I mean, you don't have to be like super overly nice, but you know, be respectful, be understanding, and like just like don't always like doubt, you know. But absolutely, yeah, like me personally speaking, I have never interacted with him like one-on-one. I've never spoken to him. I've never said much of anything, but yeah, I can say, yeah, there's not I can't really say much good, to be perfectly honest with you. But again, I've never personally experienced anything, so I can only go by the words from others and then some.
Anniversary and Ochi-san's statement. This 2-year gap hasn't come up just with the BNLC, but with other recent Capcom titles as well. And we know this because of the unfortunate ransomware attack on Capcom in 2020, when a lot of data, including their entire...
Also, I should still preface, I have no idea if he ever saw the video. I never bothered to ask, nor I probably won't have asked, to be perfectly honest with you, because it's whatever. No, like, you know, being nice, I mean, that can be a factor as well, but, you know, being nice, being naive to the point where you can be stepped on and taken advantage of, you know, that sort of thing.
Her pre-COVID internal release schedule got leaked. Due to the sensitivity of where the data came from, I cannot show you anything from it, but I can talk about the highlights. Dragon's Dogma 2 is...
And not even just like, I'm not even talking like the most respect. I know you're not either, Legion Man, but I'm just to kind of like go over it. It's just a basic respect, you know. It's like, hey, how you doing? You know, like, just like basic human decency. You know, nothing too grand. Like, I'm not gonna bow to you or anything like that, but you know, from person to person, you're a cool guy. Things like that. So not like, oh, I'm gonna spin your shoes and shit like that. That's Krong.
Is out next month, but it was originally slated to release 2 years ago in Q2 of 2022. The Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy just came out last month, and hey,
To earn respect, you must give respect. To be perfectly honest with you. You can't expect everybody to respect you, so you give them respect and give them a reason to respect you. Because unfortunately, not everybody lives the exact same way.
I reviewed it too, but it too got its announcement delayed by 2 years.
Also, I gotta get this.
Monster Hunter
God damn it.
Wilds was supposed to be out Q3 2023, but it only just
Oh,
got
this
announced
game's
at
so
the Game Awards
bad,
for a
man.
big 2025 release. Other titles like Street Fighter 6 were delayed about a year, and the list goes on with a number of titles from the league.
And yeah, they're still making mistakes to this very day.
One of those being Rockman Tyson, or some prefer Mega Man Match. All that's known about it is it would be multiplayer focused.
No, that is true. Not everybody. It can be hard to respect some people, but that's the thing though. If like, if a person's not willing to even give the most basic respect, then yeah, they're just not even worth your time. Which in that case, just ignore them at that point. Like, don't interact with them at all. That's how I see it, at least.
With post-launch DLC being planned, possibly a 3D action title. Most interestingly, it had the largest budget of any Mega Man title, being comparable to the budget of Monster Hunter Stories 2. And it was predicted to sell 2 million copies over the course of 3 years, which would be a Mega Man first. Rockman Tyson was slated for a Q3 2022 release, but so far, no official announcements for it. I've heard things over the years like it's in dev hell, or one reason it's taking so long after Mega Man 11 to come out is because they switched from Mega Man 11's old MT framework engine over to the current RE engine, and thus they have to take time to build assets from scratch. But anyway, there was another interview with Kazuhiro Tsuchiya when he talked about another game idea that was conceived before Mega Man 11. However, he would not reveal any details because he fully intended to make this game someday. I do have to wonder if Tyson was going to be that pet project of his, but then COVID ruined the whole plan's timeline. The thing is, the Eternal Mega Man staff is incredibly small. During the 2000s, they would outsource to Inti Crates a lot. But nowadays, after Legacy Collection 1 was outsourced to Digital Eclipse, Capcom has chosen to do everything in-house from that point forward. So they only have Capcom Taiwan for X-Dive, another team in Japan helping with Dive, and then presumably one internal team for the collections, and another for the next mainline title. But this is just speculation based on my observations. Still, like I said, the teams are rather small, and especially when the pandemic hit, members had to be shuffled around to meet development deadlines. The biggest example was Tsuchiya being pulled to help with Street Fighter 6. And yeah, that would end up being his final release before departing the company. So what will become of Rockman Tyson now? Are they still working on it? Has it been cancelled? Well, if we keep going by the theme of 2-year delays, technically we still have until the end of 2024 as a likely time to see an announcement. If nothing happens by then, now we can pull out the torches and pitchforks. Just kidding. Unless.
But yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, me personally speaking, I am not even really, I don't have Mega Man Tyson in my equation. I'm just like, whatever comes out, comes out. Even if it ends up being Tyson or just something completely different, I'm just waiting for it. I'm not even holding my breath. I'm just not. And that was the one thing I did hear. Like it was like the bold statement that this was going to make all Mega Man fans happy. So that actually does absolutely interest me to this very day. But because to me, it's like, I'll believe it when I see it type deal. Because it's like, do you know, like, I mean, I know they know, but it's like, do you know how diverse your fan base is? Because I guarantee you, it's like, It's quite different. But yeah, just play other games. It's a waste of time until something feasible comes out. Yeah, you know what you can play? You can play Gravity Circuit and Lunar Lux, baby!
Final question. Is the franchise dead again without Kazuhiro Tsuchiya? That is a tough one to answer because it depends on the situation on the inside, which we got no knowledge of. It's been said prior when Keiji Inafune departed that the Mega Man devs that remained were left with no leadership or vision on how to proceed. I can only hope it's not that bad this time, and Tsuchiya was able to find a successor before he left. But who knows? Prime candidates for a successor could be Masakatsu Uguchi, or my favorite pick, Mega Man 11 director Koji Oda. Remember, it wasn't even Tsuchiya that proposed working on Mega Man again.
In the Oda sweep.
It was Koji Oda knocking down the man's door trying to get answers that truly got things rolling. We need more guys like him that can take the initiative within the company if we want to see Mega Man continue on.
I will say that thing that kind of scares me about Oda, and it's not even necessarily Oda himself that's the issue. It's more so that guy looks old. What are the chances he's going to retire? I mean, I know, like, that's not saying he's going to at any time, but generally when you're older, the question of retirement does pop up, and sometimes, depending on who the person is, they might just want to keep going, or there's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna retire, and then that's that. So that is a thing to consider. Let me look at just to, yeah, you can kind of say kind of the same as well, kind of just going by appearance. I'm not entirely sure how old he is. You might have to look up the wiki for that, but yeah, generally the older like the older devs, they're probably like, maybe it's that time. But I do know that at the very least, the work culture in Japan is like vastly different compared to Americans. So maybe, I mean, it could be like a Sakurai where he just works till his deathbed. Well, I don't know. So we'll have to see about that. But yeah, I definitely agree. Either Gucci or Oda. I'm down for both if should it happen. But at this very point, I'm just not gonna be it's like I'm just gonna ride the waves and see what flows. Let's go a little bit forward. I think that's it. Let's go a little back. We'll play it here. Play the fucking bit.
Tsuchiya's rule, so I do not think Capcom is not going to rest on their laurels this time. They know people want more, it's just a matter of priorities and time. And maybe that's why they're putting out so many dang surveys lately, because they're truly trying to figure out what to do next. Yeah, I don't know what the future holds at this point. A Star Force or a Legends Legacy collection? Rockman Tyson? Remakes? Mega Man X Type 2? Are they going to look at that Battle Network sweep and make a new Battle Network game? Hard to say, but hopefully we won't have to wait much longer for them to show what they've been cooking. I am going to make a prediction, and people are going to hate me for it, especially the X9 fanboys, but I think Mega Man 12 will come out before any other sequel.
I fully agree.
11 to build off from. Wily hints at a sequel at the end of 11, saying that he will always come back. Plus, it would give them a chance to address the criticisms people had about 11 and expand on the base of what they got, especially if they want to experiment with the RE engine. But hey, I would love to be wrong. They got quite a few.
Yeah, so okay, 45. That's still up there, but these got ways to go, so possibly. But yeah, absolutely for sure. Classic. If anything's gonna get a sequel, it's probably classic. Definitely for sure. Although the Legacy collections for Battle Network sort of throws a wrench into it, so maybe they might want to do something with that. Possibly. I cannot say for sure, but literally it always like it always is like a thing that's to be factored in. We don't know.
cliffhangers to solve, so I only hope that they do get resolved one day. I'll end off with one last thought. Remember when I pointed out that Mega Man has 169 titles? Yeah, that's a lot, and you know, I sincerely doubt everybody here has played them all. Heck, there are still a few obscure titles here and there even I haven't touched yet. I understand everyone has their own ideal version of Mega Man. However, while we are still waiting for the next big thing, why not take an open-minded approach and try out those other series, spin-offs, or obscure titles released throughout the years? Don't forget that the fan game, modding, and preservation communities are always pumping out new content for us to enjoy, so that there is never a shortage, even when Capcom lets us down. There's certainly no shortage of inspired indie games
by Gravity Circuit
out there to try too. Some of those even coming from former Mega Man developer Indie Creates. Give them all a try. Who knows? You might find a treasure among the pile, or discover that one game that everyone says sucks doesn't suck so much after all. Well, everybody.
Also, you can tell Quinn edited this video because Gravity Circuit was out there for quite some time.
I would like to thank you all for coming to my TED Talk and hearing me out if you made it this far. I do want to
also base take on Star Force 2.
Stress again that this is all my own educated guesses. I don't want to be like, everything I say is absolute and you are dumb if you disagree. It's not like that at all. You're free to come to your own conclusions from here, and hey, if I got something wrong, let me know. After all, we're all still learning on this journey. As for me, after this, it's back to Mega News proper, which may be either a bi-weekly or monthly series for now, depending on the time I get to work on these. And I got a lot of catching up with live streaming content to do too. Ooh boy. In addition, I have a couple more early reviews lined up in the near future, so definitely stay tuned to ShadowRockZX for all things Mega Man and other things like I just mentioned. Until then, rock on and have yourselves a great time zone.
And it's me. But yeah, well, one dive gave us that, so. But yeah, like overall, I for the most part agree with the video. Like, I don't think there's anything I can truly say that I fully disagree with. Like, our thoughts are like quite the same, really. But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Although I think the only thing that I would probably like, I don't even want to say disagree, but it's more so he's probably more on the path of hoping for Mega Man. I'm definitely on the path of go buy Gravity Circuit, Lunar Lux, aka get the spiritual successors. To answer your questions, yes, I'm going to be uploading this as a separate video. It'll probably be up either tomorrow or Monday, probably. But I'm definitely gonna upload this separately, and then that way, you guys can watch it whenever you wish. But overall, I fully agree with the video. Like, there's like very little I disagree with. In this whole thing, and this kind of was a video that people needed, right? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, this is like, this is 100% the video that you wanna definitely try. Gravity Circuit, I believe, is on the Switch. Somebody confirm with me just in case, but I'm pretty sure Gravity Circuit is on the Switch. Probably. I know they have like, I think they have like one of those limited run physical versions. I'm not sure if there's a digital version, but yeah, definitely for sure it's on the Switch in some way, shape, or form, so you can definitely play it. It's such a good game, dude. It is such a good game. Oh, Nape's already played Gravity Circuit. I streamed it like a little bit ago. It was a great game. I loved it all the way. And it's funny too because like Gravity Circuit was like the Mega Man X Mega Man Zero game that Mega Man Zero wanted to be, and it just like it captured it flawlessly. Like, one of the biggest reasons why I couldn't really get into Zero or ZX and things like that is because I just couldn't really fully resonate with its gameplay and like the way the game played. Like, I understood that it was definitely more for the hardcore gamers, where It was definitely much more challenging, much more harder, and I don't mind challenge and hardness, but then when you unlock like even though they're optional things, the fact that you unlock things behind like your performance it really puts me down. It's like I could get good, but why should I get good if you're just not even gonna allow me to uh fully enjoy the game? I would like so, and then there's even some people where they would rather just enjoy the game casually, and Gravity Circuit captures that perfectly. It is that game where you can absolutely play it casually. It ain't gonna kill you, and like it's like it's not a terribly hard game, but with Gravity Circuit, it's a game that you like. It's easy to play. What's the phrase? I forgot the phrase, but it's like you can get into it easily, but it's definitely very. It's for both audiences. It's for both the casuals and the hardcore. You can super go off and do the crazy shit of all time in that game, and just completely break and show how insane the game is. And yeah, it's just a great game overall. You get to pet you gotta pet a dog, for God's sakes. Okay, buy the game, damn it. Yeah. So I know 3 for sure, and I'm pretty sure 2. But yeah, you abilities and whatnot where if you beat a boss, you had to be an S and A rank at least to get the stuff, and if you are below that, you're done for. And the thing that really bothered me, I can only really speak about 03 because that's like the one I really played. 4 too, but that's a bit different. But when it came to the grade, it's not even in fact like, oh, you get graded for that stage. Is that grade is carried to you through that the entire time. So if at one point you so much as get your grade down to a B or below, there's just no way you can get back up. And that irked me to no end, because it could be like, oh, I'm good in this stage, but I'm not good in that stage. And then if I get to that point where I have to beat the stage that I'm not stuck there, like that I'm not good at, then I'm going to suffer, unfortunately. And it's like, oh, I'm going to outright miss out. And at that point, it does become get good or lose out. And that definitely sucks, especially for a series that you need people to buy your shit. But yeah, oh yeah, Pizza Tower, I need to get that at some point. That's definitely another one of those games that are just like, oh, it's a pretty good game, bro. I gotta get on that. I should be chilling that game too. It looks so good. Like here's the thing too. I don't even watch Pizza Tower videos per se, but I get recommended like these mods for Pizza Tower, and it's like Pizza Man has like a fucking daughter and shit like that, and there's like a bunch of fucking mods for this game. It's like, all right, sure. But yeah, I also hope for the best for the Gravity Circuit devs. Hell, actually, they even fucking they actually had like a pretty significant update. I played a little bit offline, but they essentially added like palette chips and things like that, so you can just like change the color, and they all have abilities pertaining to the Robot Master. And then like they even have one where, oh, you can like have all of it in one, which I found to be pretty fucking cool. Will I play Pizza Tower? I will at some point. I just don't know when. Berserk Boy is one I'm looking at as well. Oh yeah, let me even show you, like, this is the video. This is the remix that I found from Dominic Nidmark. Yeah, so like literally this is the remix, bass remix as well, but this is the remix that I saw. I was like, holy fucking shit, guys. Actually, videos. It's better to do videos. Right here. This is the one where it was just recommended to me out of the blue. I heard it, and I'm like, Oh shit. Oh god. This guy's fucking great. And then like, and apparently this guy was in a fucking hiatus for for some reason. And then like, I look over and I'm like, oh, what kind of other things do you do? And I'm like, I love the pictures too. It's like, oh, like he does some pretty cool stuff. What the fuck's this gravity circuit thing? I don't fucking know, dude. Like, it's like, okay, cool, I guess whatever, right? And then like, I think there were some posts and whatnot coming out. It's like, okay, I guess he didn't put it, but I was like, oh hey guys, there's this cool game called Gravity Circuit that's coming out soon. You should probably play that. And I was like, oh, well, this game's cool. And yeah, so that's that's how I was introduced to this. I was literally introduced to this by pure accident. Kind of insane if you think about it. But
We wouldn't.
if you haven't already, absolutely listen to that guy's stuff. It's phenomenal, and he's the composer for Gravity Circuit, so even more reasons to buy it. I tried J-pop. That's practically what I mostly listen to be honest. J-pop, J-rock. And a lot of video game OSTs and things like that. Gravity Circuit themed tier list one. I could do that. I can do that. It's a big. I don't know if I could actually do like an. I mean, I probably can. It's like, like would there be like an audience for like an actual like tier list of like it's just the entire stream. That's all it is. It's just tier list. So yeah. I mean, I'll if there's interest, I'll definitely do it. I want to do one for the Battle Network series. Like as soon as I'm done with the Battle Network series, I'm going to do that where I'm gonna like grade each and every one of the Battle Networks. So that ought to be fun. I'm gonna get people to hate me, but yeah. The video is linked in the description. Of course. I would definitely give it a watch, give it a like. You know, guy worked hard in this video, so everyone deserves the their dues and whatnot. And I even said the same thing for a replay video. Like you may or may not like it, but yeah, you got to be fair. You know, give the guy it's advertising and whatnot. And that's like the benefit for a premium too. Is like I believe the creator gets more money if a user that watches you is a premium user. So I know there's one thing I want to do at this point. We talked about it briefly, but oh, give me one moment, I'm getting a phone call. Okay. Coolio. I mean, if you want to share music, you can just share YouTube link. You don't have to like send the actual MP3 file. But at this point, I'm going to 240 mark. I'm gonna write that down. The video itself is done, so I'd like to thank you all for joining me for this wonderful reaction. Overall, video's great. I truly do like it. I will say I'm not sure if I want to stop streaming per se, but at the very least, I'm going to hey Aurora, Major John, how you doing? At the very least, I might stop the stream for a brief moment because I have to go feed the dogs, and that'll take like about 5-ish minutes. So, I might put a BRB screen, maybe, probably, but as for what I want to do, I don't know. Honestly, anything's on the table because I kind of feel like doing something. I don't want to do Battle Network 6 because I would leave that for the main week. But if you'd like to stick around and just watch me fuck around and do something, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, like I kind of feel like streaming a bit longer, but the reaction part is finished. So I'm going to stop the stream for a bit so that way it saves the video and then I can just like have it like right there and something like that. Oh, I could do World of Horror. That's a good thing. Yeah, we can probably do that. But I'll look at my list. Give me like about what? It's 8:40. Give me like around 9. I'll be back then. I'll make like an event for 9. I'm not doing Donkey Kong Country because that's also like something that I have set up, especially with Aurora. So I'd rather
recovery drop.
Have a drink. Thank you. Of course. Thanks for joining as well, and I will see you whenever. But yeah, so I'm gonna turn off the stream for the time being, but I will be coming back on within 20 minutes or so. I mean, if you wanna DM me or send me stuff, that's fine. I don't mind. You should know my Discord. But anyways, I'll see you guys in like 20 minutes or so. So, I think YouTube will have to be a different link, but in Twitch chat, you can just stick around for sure. And then I'll be back within 20 minutes or so. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll think about it. So you all have a wonderful night. For those not sticking around, but for those who are,